Hi guys, my name's Future-Proof Jake, and today we're going to be looking at the Razer Kishi. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what I think of this little guy. So for those of you that don't know what the Razer Kishi is, it is a handheld gaming pad that you connect to your phone via USB Type-C, and you use it to play all of your mobile games. So the one I have here is the Xbox version. It's exactly the same as the original version, except the home button has an Xbox symbol. There's no other differences, but it's a nice little touch. So at the time of recording, I paid $79.99 for this on Amazon. This is the Android version. You can get an iPhone version, and I'll leave a link in the description for the costs for that, and also for this one. It's not the cheapest handheld controller on the market, but it's also not the most expensive. For the price, I would have liked it to have come with its own carry case, so that when you're putting it in your bag, you don't have that worry of the buttons getting bashed or it getting damaged or scratched. So this is how it comes when it's closed. To open it up, pop the sides on the back and you pull the middle bit out. And that's how it looks when it's extended. It stretches out with this rubber grip, this rubber band to allow you to put your phone inside it. I will say it closes up nicely and easily. It's not difficult to open. He says now he's trying to put it together. Like that, there we go. Just make sure the metal tags are aligned in the middle. It's not specifically difficult to open, but I would have preferred, rather than the two pulleys on the side, if it was just one slider across the middle, because then you could open it while you're holding it in front of you, pull the slider, open it out, as opposed to having to turn it around, pop them, pull that open, pull that out. Just seems a little bit more of a faff than it needs to be. Just a single slider on the back would have been nicer. But other than that, closes away fine. The joysticks I like. Let me open it back up. So the joysticks I like. They feel like similar to the Xbox controller. The buttons, a little bit noisy, don't know if you can hear them. A little bit plasticky feeling, but they have some movement and travel that makes them they're fine to use. Like, nothing to write home about, but they're fine, perfectly fine. I've definitely used a lot worse. So when you're attaching your phone, obviously pop in the USB Type-C in the end, make sure it's pushed right in, stretch your phone out, and it just sits in its little rubber chamber to not scrape your phone. And then that's what it looks like with your phone in it. This is with the Samsung S10 Plus, so it's a bigger phone. But it does fit it. There is a list of phone availabilities that will fit into the Kishi, but generally I think I've seen people put a Samsung Note series in there, like a Note 9. That's an even bigger phone. So if it can hold that, it can generally hold most phones. And it gives you this Switch-like experience while using your phone and playing games on it. I will say one of the downsides is the fact that you do have to take your phone out of its case, so it won't hold your phone with a case on it as well, which is another bit of a faff and something that lets it down. I would have been able to prefer to be able to make the bracket a bit bigger, maybe, to be able to have a phone case in it. I assume even with a smaller phone, it still won't take it with a phone case, because it doesn't look like there's enough space within the housing bracket to be able to fit a case on as well. And the Type-C probably isn't deep enough to counteract the thickness of the case. So let's try out some games. Since my last video, Microsoft has updated its hardware in the back end so that all of its cloud gaming power, if you want to call it, is all now running off Series X hardware as opposed to One S hardware. So it's now improved its speed, it's improved latency, and it's a much, much better experience. And I keep pressing the wrong button. Why? It's because I think I'm playing a Switch. There we go. Let's try out some Dirt 5. Let's see how long this takes to load up. So it still takes a little bit of time to load into games, but compared to what it used to, it's about half the time. So I haven't tried Dirt 5 out on this, so we'll see how this goes. One of the other downsides is the fact that with this phone specifically, I have two speaker grills, one at the bottom and one at the top. Turn that down. But due to the fact that there is only sound coming out of one end, yeah, you lose the sound so much out of the top end. It only really comes out of the bottom end. So if you're using a phone that does like a 3D sound effect, it doesn't work as well because it only allows for the audio out of the one side. So it is a passive controller. You do not need to charge it. It runs off of the battery of your phone, and it also has on the bottom a USB charging pass-through, so you can charge that and it will charge your phone. So you can have it wired at the same time, and it all depends on your phone's battery life, how good it is. Let's see what this looks like. How do we play games? I do not play racing games generally, but I thought it might be a good one to try out. The responsiveness seems pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And obviously it depends on the image quality of your screen, on what the games are gonna look like, and your Wi-Fi network as to how fast it's gonna play and respond. But this does feel very good. This is running off my home Wi-Fi, which it's not the greatest. I get about 30 meg down, at 17 up. So it's not, oh, we've had a crash. So it's not intense in any way. But if you tried using it off of public Wi-Fi, your experiences may vary, and also if you're running off of your 4G, your bandwidth caps may take a bit of a hit. But it is playing very nicely, very smooth. On the go, it's a really enjoyable thing to use. It's much better than trying to play the games off of your phone screen. Having that controller there, yeah, the buttons are fine, they're perfectly fine. And all the functionality of Gamepass there with your Xbox system, it's great. And then to disconnect it, take the phone out of one end, take the USB out of the other, pop it back together, pop it back on, job done. So I did previously review the little cradle that held your controller at the bottom. That I did like, because you're able to use your own controller and it doesn't feel like you're holding your phone, so your screen feels separate. It feels like a separate screen rather than one device. But with that, you've also then got, even though the cradle bit's only small, you've got to carry around the whole controller, and do you want to risk breaking your controller while carrying it about, even though this probably costs a bit more money than your controller. So if you already have an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller that you can connect to your phone, then yeah, the Cradle is a good value option, because that was what, £12–15, whereas this is 80. But this is a very good experience. And if you're used to using that Switch style handheld gaming, using this on the go is an excellent option. So in my opinion, I really like the Razer Kishi, especially if you want to give it to the kids to use. Obviously, make sure they're old enough so they don't end up breaking it, because you don't want your equipment breaking. But I really enjoy it. I think it's definitely worth the purchase. The next one is the backbone, but at the minute, I think that only works for iOS. So if there's an Android version coming out, let me know. And I'm happy to get one of those and review that and then compare it to the Razer Kishi. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it's helped you guys out, informed you on some opinions. If you fancy picking up the Razer Kishi, use the links down in the description and it will take you to my Amazon link to purchase through that. I hope you all enjoyed the video and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. So since my last video, Microsoft